What's going on, guys? My name's James Fairfield, back here with another tech tip short on the series for high lines and track lines. Before we get started, make sure to go check out the first video. Kind of did it a little backwards, apologize for that. I'm still only human. We did soft interfaces first, working with tandem prusiks. Make sure to check out that video as well. So at the very end, what we're going to do is we're going to put them all together, make a big track line, high line, maybe even like a English reuse or something of that nature, get it on film and see how it works. This way you have a better understanding of every little detail that goes into it and a generalized, very basic way of talking about it, nothing too fancy. So here we go. Alright guys, so the last video was on soft interfaces, but what I didn't talk about was what did the soft interface go to. Now, soft interfaces can go to a few different things in a track line or a high line depending on what kind of system you're putting together. But let's just concentrate right now just on the track line itself. Let's say we have just a basic beginner level type thing here. So we're working with the track line. What is the track line? Okay, so the track line is, think of it this way, it's the road, okay? It's what's going to be the path for whatever your object is. It's going to travel across the span. That's what it's going to travel on. You can have control lines, and you can have lines that control up and down and left and right and things of that nature, but that line stays the same for the most part unless you need to tension it or take slack in it to lower the object down with the track line itself for whatever reason. So, with the track line, what you're normally going to see is you're going to see some kind of pulley most likely connected to that. That'll go to what's called a trolley, or will just go to a sling if you're doing tree work and you're slinging some brush across this band. But in this case, I want to have a little bit of a trolley on it. It's not completely put together, but it gives the idea of an object sitting on it. So, right here, we're going to say that the rope is the track line, and then what you have is the pulley on top. That's what's going to allow your object to move back and forth across. Below that is what I call a trolley. Okay, a lot of people call it a trolley. You can call it whatever you want, but it's what what has your objects connected into it. Now, the reason I use a rigging plate, or you can use a rigging hub or whatever, or in the rescue world, when I first started, they were using rescue weights. Because it was a round object, very strong, you can pull multiple directions. But what it does is allows you to connect a line into here, and a line into there, and you can pull back and forth, and then you can add on to that if you want to. Now, the important thing to remember about the track line, okay, you're going to have to tension it. Now, depending on what the obstacle is that you're trying to get over, that's going to be the deciding factor of how much tension you're actually going to place into it. So you got your load onto it, and then you got noise span and things of that nature. Let's not worry about that. Let's just worry about the load going into it and how much sag that's going to place into it and how much you need to lift that up. So generally, rule of thumb, when I start, I like to tension my track lines with a mechanical advantage. I'll start with a 4-to-1, 5-to-1. I'm a light guy, and I'll have either myself or I pick the biggest guy in the crew to pull by himself. This way I have a little bit of control right off the bat. And then I can test it. I can load test it. I can place a body onto it from the ground, and see what how much sag I'm gonna get out of that. If it's not enough, I can pull it up. As long as I am personally not bringing that track line past a 120. Okay, so 120 is the degree on the top here. That's what I'm measuring. So let's say this is 120. If my hand's holding both ends of the track line were the anchor, at 120, both sides are going to be seeing 100% of the load applied to the track line. Okay, so if I go down to 90 degrees on the track line, that'll bring the load on each side going to the anchors to about 70% of the load. So if you got 100 pounds, you got 70 pounds on each side, right? Very easy to understand. The smaller the angle, the less force on each anchor. When you get above 120 degrees and you start entering the area of like a 140, at 140, you're starting to see 150% of the load. So got an angle to 120, 100%, get up to 140, you're starting to see 150% on each anchor. Get up to 160, you're starting to push that into 300% of the load on each anchor. So you can see how once you pass that 120, which is the golden number when doing track lines and high lines, that force greatly starts going up. You don't want to do that. Now, if you have to do it, there is a way around it. You can put a second track line up and connect everything into that second track line as well. And what happens with that is that 120 number that was for a single track line that had 100% on each anchor now can be brought up to 160 degrees, and you'll have 100% on each anchor, because the two lines are now going to be sharing. You're going to be distributing the load across both lines into 4 different anchors. So there are ways around it. You just got to know what force you need to put into it. You need to know about how much pressure or how much pound force is going into these anchors. So when you're doing it, just know that the key to it is that you only need to have as much tension to clear an object, which is the whole reason for doing it anyway. And you don't want to go past 120 on a single track line. Okay, not many people have enough rope to span 2 track lines, but if you do, great. You can bump it up a little bit. But key rule of thumb: 120 degrees. Most important thing to remember with a track line. Don't pass it. Try to keep it within 90 degrees and 120. Somewhere in between there, you're going to be safe. Now, of course, you got to know what you're dealing with. So if you're dealing with like a small piece of brush, then obviously you're going to be okay. But if you're dealing with a person, a climber, or you're dealing with large logs, large wood, things of that nature that are going to start bumping up how much weight you're applying to the whole system, you got to keep it in mind. You don't want to blow out your system, and you don't want to blow out any parts of your equipment and break stuff, because things will go wrong real fast, and someone can get really badly hurt. You don't want to explain that. So, this one was on track lines. Last one was on soft interfaces. You can start putting some of these together. The soft interface connects into the track line. Like I said in the last video, it'll give you a warning when too much force is placed into the track line. It slips until the force goes down. So right there is your safety into your track line with the soft interface. Check out that video. You'll see what I'm talking about. Alright guys, this was track lines. Hope that you got something out of it if you never had done anything like this and it's basic enough that you understand. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'll try to answer them the best I possibly can. So, the next one we're going to probably be doing is going to be on the anchors. How to build what anchors. And I'm gonna bring a little bit different of a twist to the anchors. I'm going to talk about anchors that I'm sure you guys don't necessarily always do, but they're basic. And it's something different, so hopefully it keeps your attention a little bit. Alright, this is James Fairfield with another tech tip on high lines and track lines. Thanks for watching, be safe, climb safe. See ya.